right, good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing? All right. My camera is looking weird. Give me just a second. Let me try to fix my, I think one of my things turned off. On the video settings. Okay, there it goes. All right, there it goes. It wasn't looking right. All right, this evening we will be discussing You Are Your Own Brand 24/7, 365. Go ahead and get started. Share screen. I'm acting like I have never used this before. All right, let's get the slideshow going. And then you know me, I have to move around some boxes. There we go. You are your own brand 24/7, 365. As always, who am I? I am Dr. King. I'm a wife and a mother, a 34-year resident of Duncanville, Texas, and I lived in the 800 Link community for 18 years. How did I become Dr. King? I have a high school diploma from Duncanville High School, an associate's degree from El Centro College, a bachelor's degree from UT Permian Basin, a master's degree from the University of Phoenix, and a doctoral degree from North Central University. Move around my boxes again. And then what have you done with your life, Dr. King? I have 25 plus years working in corporate America in various industries and for various companies. 12 years working in higher education, and then 12 years coaching for the Lady Panthers Girls Basketball Association, or the LPGBA Lady Panthers. And then we are partnered with USA Basketball, Junior NBA, FIBA, and AAU to host events and tournaments for girls basketball players. And so who is this presentation for tonight? This presentation is for anyone looking to start their personal branding or looking to improve and enhance on their personal branding. And what TI Communities pillars does this presentation focus on? Tonight's going to be education and community building. And here's tonight's poll. When you think of the phrase personal branding, what do you think about? And you can put more than one answer. Excuse me, I have to get my vitamin C in. I refuse to catch a cold or COVID or anything else. So keep answering that as you want. We'll come back to it later. I say you can put more than one answer. That's why I like to use this type of poll, because it actually, you can answer more than one time if you want to. But we'll move on. So the first definition, what is a brand? And a brand is the kind, grade, or make of a product or service as indicated by a stamp, a trademark, or the like. It is what gives a product or service its identity, differentiates the product or service from a like product or service, and assigns attributes that makes the product or service stand out. So, you know, we can think of anything. Toothpaste, for example, Crest. Crest has the same logo. You know, the boxes may look a little different, but the Crest logo is always going to be the same. You're going to know Crest. You're going to know a BMW from any other car. You know, that's the logo, that's the brand. You know, anybody say Bill Gates, you know, we're talking about Microsoft. They say Steve Jobs, we're talking about Apple. You know, so a brand can be a thing or it can be a person. You know, it's just something that if somebody says it, it's what makes you who you are or makes it what it is. And so as we say who you are, then what is a personal brand? A personal brand is how you promote yourself. It is the unique combination of skills, experience, and personality that you want the world to see about you. It is the telling of your story and how it reflects your conduct, behavior, spoken words, and attributes. And then your personal brand differentiates you from other people, and it can and should be both online and offline. And we'll get off into that in just a second. And then it can combine personal branding with your company's branding. If you own a company, you tie your personal branding to your company branding. Elon Musk, Tesla, same thing. It can be a combination of how others look at you in real life, how the media portrays you, and the impression that people gain from the information about you that is available online. And personal branding can be as simple or as deep as you want it to be. It depends on what you're doing with your life. For people that are entertainers and things like that, they have to have a personal brand. If that's not the industry that you're in, where you have to have a personality profile out there, you may just want to do something as simple as just having a page that just, not necessarily a blog page, but just about everybody now has some type of page that tells you about them. A lot of companies, find that, intriguing now, that you don't just have a resume. They call them what they're called living resumes. So, a personal brand can be as simple or as deep as you want it to be. And then, why is personal branding important? In today's technological age, branding becomes important because the internet has made it easy for people to know about you and find out anything about you, regardless to whether you actively participate on the internet or not. And that is true. Companies have whole departments that they pay people that are dedicated, that when people apply to their companies for a position, it is their job to go out on the internet and find everything out about that person that they can. And, as much as they can before they interview them, or whether they choose not to interview them based on what they find. People, I watch a lot of real, TV shows, not reality, but the real ones, like the crime shows and those type of things. And the first thing they do anytime they interview anybody, or, people with money, the first thing they do when somebody comes into their lives, they pay somebody to go out to find everything they can on that person. Branding is what it is. It can either be a positive thing or a negative thing, but it does exist. And you may not want to deal with it, or you may not want to directly be involved with it, but it's there. So, and that's where we're going here. You can either let your brand develop organically, which is do nothing and let it form on its own, which for many would be a last resort is what it's supposed to say, not last resort. You can let your brand develop indirectly, which allows other people's words, pictures, descriptions of you to create your brand. It depends. That means that whatever you're doing offline has to be wonderful for people to go online and talk about you in a positive way. That's indirect branding. And then, or you can let your brand develop directly, which is where you are in control of what the world knows and sees about you. And this is what you want. Like I said, branding can be as simple or as deep as you want it to be. But if you're somebody who, like I said, depending on the field that you work in or whatever you do, the direct branding, personal branding is what you want to be in control of. What do you want the world to know about you? And so understand that complete anonymity is a thing of the past. Anonymity now comes with levels. The only way that somebody is not going to know about you is if you completely go off the grid. That means you're not using a computer, you don't use a credit card, you pay everything in cash, you don't ever go in, use a credit card, there's a profile of you somewhere on the internet. It may be a financial one, but there's still one. Hey, Sheila, type your name in the chat box for me, and somebody copy and paste the poll everywhere link for Sheila, please. So you got to understand that there's some type of trail of you on the internet somewhere. Buy anything, shop online, there's some type of trail of you somewhere. So the thing is, and just because you shop online doesn't mean it's personal branding. I'm just trying to say that being completely anonymous in the world today is a thing of the past, unless all you do is use cash and you don't go on the internet at all. But if you do anything on the internet, there's a trail of you somewhere, But like I said, if you're someone whose job it is to be in the public eye, then you want to directly brand yourself, depending on what industry you're in, because a lot of it is really based on what industry you work in. There are some people, that's what we're going on thing. What can you do with personal branding? Develop oneself as an influencer if that is your goal. There's a such thing now as internet influencers. These are people, they call them social influencers. They're the same thing. These are people where, you remember back in the day, like when, say, a singer was coming to town, or a rap star or somebody was coming to town, and they had people going out in the streets posting flyers, selling tickets, wearing the t-shirts. They called them I forgot what the name was, on the tip of my tongue, but those are influencers. Now they are called influencers. I forgot what they were called back in the day, but now they're called influencers. And these are people that, the little boy that's on YouTube that's like 3 years old making like 10 million a year because he plays with toys. He's trying out the toys for the different toy companies. He's an influencer. People that that taste food, food tasters. They go to the different restaurants and then they go online or they write, some type of print ad or something about the food at a particular restaurant or something like that. Those are influencers. So if you want to be an influencer, having a personal brand is what you want to do. And then a personal brand can always highlight one's skills, knowledge, and expertise for marketing purposes. Excuse me. Like I said, if you're an entertainer, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an entertainer, just about everybody. LinkedIn is one web page where personal branding is a big thing, because LinkedIn is, that's the Facebook for people looking for jobs. And Facebook actually owns LinkedIn now, if I remember correctly. But it's a way for you to control what's out there about you, especially if you're looking for a job. You want to put your face out there, who you are, what you know about, what you're good at, stuff like that, who you've worked with. That's kind of what branding is all about, is showing the best of you professionally. Like I said, some people just do it because they're looking for likes and all of that. That's that's the other end of the spectrum. We're talking about people that want to be in control of what the world sees about them. And so then you can also have a living resume for career search and those researching you for hiring purposes. And a living resume it's a LinkedIn. Remember back in the day when people used to use Facebook to job search. Facebook had a job search area. When they bought LinkedIn, they did away with it. But it's a living resume. That means, you're going to go in there more than once or twice a year and update your skills. Living resumes, people are normally in there, once or twice a week, because they're going in, updating things they've done. They did something yesterday, so now they got to go online today and update it, post the pictures, tell what happened. That's a living resume. That means you are updating it and tweaking things at least more than once a year or twice a year, which is what most people do with their resumes. A living resume, you're in there almost daily or at least weekly, changing something, adding something, deleting something, trying to bring the best of you forward. So when headhunters or recruiters or interviewers or whatever are looking for you and looking for work or looking to hire you for a particular position, they can go in and see these things. And like with LinkedIn, anytime you update your online resume on LinkedIn, it shoots it out to everybody. You can not, you can stop it. But if you don't go in and check the box to not do it, every time you update something on LinkedIn, everybody on your friends list on LinkedIn finds out, and even the recruiters and things who are following you. So it gives you a way of having a living resume. And then you can make yourself positively memorable, public relations, and people still do it. They pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars to be their image, to portray them positively. They don't want the negative stuff out there. So they're paying people to, that's what their job is. To anything that's being said about somebody, they're trying to make sure none of the negative stuff hits the airwaves or hits the newspaper or hits the magazines or whatever, tabloids or whatever. They want to be known as only doing things positively. Well, personal branding helps with that. And then if you're a business owner, the point on with the potential customer on a personal level before trying to sell them your product or service. And three people that are really good at this are Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Elon Musk with Tesla, and the four people, I'm sorry, Jeff Bezos with Amazon, and then Steve Jobs before he passed away with Apple. Sean Combs or Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him, he is who he is. He is a Howard University educated African-American man that has his hands and investments in everything. He's invested in Ciroc. He has a clothing line. He is a music mogul. But every time you see him, he likes to be in front of the camera, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, so when you think about Bad Boy Records, Puff Daddy, think about Ciroc, Puff Daddy, about, his Sean Combs line. I think it was in Macy's. I think so. When you think about these things, they're trying to tell you, I don't just invest in this. I use this stuff. I wear this stuff. This is who I am. Elon Musk with Tesla. Nobody had ever heard of Tesla until Elon Musk came along and poured millions of dollars into it, invested in things. He's invested, he just invested a whole bunch of money a couple of days ago into some university. But Elon Musk is one of those, he's a thinker, and he invests money in things that people, now is like nobody's ever heard of it, but then in the next couple of years it's gonna blow up, and that's because that's what he does. He is now. Did he move Tesla headquarters to San Antonio, or right outside of San Antonio a couple of months ago? So Jeff Bezos, everybody's big about knowing Jeff Bezos started Amazon. What was it, in his garage or in his living room or something like that? And now Amazon, Elon Musk actually just announced last week, he's just surpassed Bezos as being the richest man on the globe, not just in the country. Elon Musk is now the richest man on the globe. Jeff Bezos is now number 2, but you say Jeff Bezos, the first thing people are going to say is Amazon. He has made a way for people to get anything and everything that you want through his Amazon delivery service. Steve Jobs came in and completely changed Apple. But you learned about who these people were. You were along for the ride, and even though Steve Jobs had cancer, but everybody was there, going through that with him until he died, and you learn that money does not stop, it may prolong it, but it doesn't stop things, but when you think of these people, you think of their brands. And then when you think of their brands, you think of them. There are other people out there that do some of those things, but these are the main 4 that just me living. Those are the 4 that came to mind immediately when you start talking about branding themselves with their products and their services. And they are all invested in some of everything. So, it's just not one thing. Now, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, Sean Combs he's has several things up under his belt, but Musk and Bezos and Jobs, them. Musk is Tesla, Bezos is Amazon, Jobs is Apple, and everything that comes with that. So that's kind of what personal branding does. If you own a business, like here in Dallas, you ever heard of the Cake Daddy? I know his wife, she used to work at Bill Hart's Elementary when my daughter was in school there, but Cake Daddy is now one of the biggest cake decorators and cake makers in the country, and lives right here in Glen Heights, and just opened up his own shop. He was doing everything. He and his wife Kelly were doing everything out of their kitchen, and now he's opened up his own shop over where Rudy's Chicken. Yeah, Rudy's Chicken over there in that area, so it's just like when you start thinking of Cake Daddy, you think of Manny Pruitt. His name is Manuel Pruitt. Everybody calls him Cake Daddy, so it's just like your personal brand. If you have a business, you almost want your personal brand to be synonymous and reciprocal to your business. People know who you are. And so how do you start to build your personal brand? What you have to do is do some self-reflection. Who are you? And can you truly describe yourself to someone if they ask you? It's and they say, and I've done some research because I really wanted to know if this was true or not. And the stat and statistics can be used to pretty much do anything. But the research I found was at least more than 50% of people cannot describe themselves to someone if they were asked. And not just your aesthetics, but who you are, what you want in life. That's the main question you always ask somebody. What do you want to do with your life? And you tend to first get that deer in headlights stare. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Not who are you? Can you describe yourself as far as what you look on the outside? Who are you on the inside? So you have to do some self-reflection. And then you think about the words that you want to be known by. What do you want your legacy to be? And so people that can afford to pay somebody to do their personal branding, this is pretty much what they're doing. They're building a legacy on that person's name. Like I said, Sean Combs, Puff Daddy has been out for 20-something years. His kids are now doing things. He's building a legacy with his brand. Nas, the rapper Nas, he was actually very intelligent. So when he does things and makes music and creates albums, he actually makes his daughter a producer and gives her credits. So she will always continue, even after he's long dead, will continue to get royalties off of his music. Even though he owns the things and stuff like that, but he was smart enough to know to put his daughter as one of the producers of he gave her a title in his company. So no matter what he does, she always gets a check. And I think his daughter is only like 12 or 13 years old, but he started this years ago when she was little, so it's kind of like when you're branding, what do you want your legacy to be? Now, granted, we're talking offline stuff there, but when you're talking about online, when you think about the words, what do you want to be known by? I had to do a reference, yes, for myself. And this is really funny because somebody particularly asked me, what do you think about yourself? What do you want people to know you by? And the first thing that kept coming to mind was servant leader. I want to be known as a servant leader. It is hard, when somebody asks you, who are you? What do you want to do with yourself? What do you see yourself being? If somebody was to talk about you, what words do you want them to describe? So, it is kind of, if you don't sit down and already have something like that written up already, and you're having to wing it, yeah, I can almost see how they say that many people, can't do that, because it is kind of hard, but the one word that I always want, or two words I want to be known by or as, is a servant leader. So that is what it is. And then be focused. Determine what you want your brand to depict about you. Don't just create something. And remember how I said you can let something just create on its own, and you don't want to do that. That you don't want to just put your name out there and then just leave it there. Don't tend to it. And we're talking about, online branding or offline. Don't just put yourself out there and then don't do anything to try to have some type of calculated steps going. You want to be focused with your brand, because your brand is you. Be ready to fail until you get it right. Nobody is going to do their branding correctly the first time they do it, unless you're paying somebody big money who's already done the trial other people, and now they know the ropes, know what to and to, what not to do. So now once they get to you and you pay them, they can come right out the box and everything's fine. But if you're doing it yourself and you're working on your own branding, you're going to fail more often than not up front. You got to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what do you want, what logos you want to use. There's going to be some trial and error, and you got to be ready to fail and have some pitfalls before you start to get it right. And then once you get it right, it'll start flowing. You'll know when things start to come together, because they'll start to flow. And then for business purposes, you need to know your target audience. Who are you personally branding yourself to? And I always go back to entertainment, because personal branding is, they live and die by personal branding. With target audience, you have to know who your target age group is, gender, for some, race, culture, whatever. You have to know who you are trying to, whose attention you're trying to get. And then what image do you want the world to see about you? Hopefully it's something positive. Unfortunately, there are some that, they're tyrants and that's what they want to be. But hopefully your image is a positive one. People see you doing positive things, and we can go down a list of so many. LeBron James is a basketball player, but he has done so much. He's built a school. He's, he's getting ready to do something else. And I was getting ready to say the wrong thing. But the guy, the black billionaire guy that paid for all of the Morehouse College guys, students, student loans and everything a couple of years ago. Well, he just opened up a STEM high school that is basically founded on historically Black college and university principles. He's done that, and they're doing that now. They just broke ground on it last month in Denver, Colorado. So it's kind of like, what image do you want the world to see about you? And if you do have an image already out there and it's not, it was positive and it's starting to kind of go downhill, what can you do to bring it back to the positive side? Those are things you have to think about. Let other people tell your story based on how you live your life. And this is going to go into offline branding, which we're going to talk about. But what do you want other people to say about you? When other people ask questions about you to others, what do you want to be? What do you want them to say? And that's kind of, these are people a lot of times that, these are people close to you. This is not just, a follower, on Instagram or something like that. Normally when somebody else is telling your story, these are people that, have some personal ties to you and things like that. But what story do you want them to tell? How are you living your life, and how are you depicting that branding? What do you want those people to be able to say about you? And then determine what reputation that you want the world to know that you are building. Like I said, you're LeBron's, you're the billionaire guy, I keep forgetting his name. Issa Rae is doing big things right now. You know, Issa Rae started doing YouTube videos or YouTube shows with her friends. And now she has Insecure on HBO. I think a couple of days ago, she was put on some academy's board, you know, so it's kind of like, what reputation are you trying to build? A lot of times, like I said, personal branding tends to go with what you're doing professionally. So that reputation has to build into all of that. It's all steps and levels as to what you're doing. So what reputation do you want the world to know about you, you know, or have? And then be authentic. Don't be a fake stereotype of what you think that people want to see. There are so many out there that we don't even have to call those names out, because I try not to be negative with certain things and people, but be authentic, be yourself, because it's hard to live a lie. And once you start living a lie, you have to keep lying on top of that lie, on top of that lie. And after a while, it's going to all come down on top of you anyway. So be authentic from jump. From the first time and first step out the box, starting your personal branding, be authentic in who you are and what you do. And there's no reason to lie. There's no reason to make up things and stuff like that, you know, and be consistent, act and behave in the manner that you are portraying yourself to be. You know, you can't say I'm this, and then go out and do the whole 180, you know, degree difference of what you're saying you are. Be authentic, be consistent, be true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only person that you're really in competition with is the person in the mirror, yourself. So if you can get up and everything that you're doing, still look at yourself in the mirror, then you know you're doing something right. There are those out there that can do what they do, and they say they can look themselves in the mirror. That's not my job to say whether they can or not. But I know with everything that I do, I can still get up and look myself in the mirror, and I'm still proud of myself daily. Respect yourself. All the same thing. Be authentic, be consistent, be true to yourself, and respect yourself. You have to respect yourself and demand that you can't ask somebody to do something of you that you're not doing to yourself. Set the standard, even with your personal branding, for the respect that you deserve. And the real branding is not a game. Treat your brand with respect. Like I said, don't just put something out there and just don't, you know, forget about it. Don't ever go in and tweak things or update things, or, you know, your resume, your living resume. This is not a game. This is your life. You are in control of, or you should want to be in control of the things that are being said about you, either, like I said, online or offline. This is not a game. This is your life. So make sure that everything you do with your personal branding is of you, who you are authentically, respectfully. Be true to yourself, respect yourself, be real with what you're doing. That's how you get started with building your brand. And then for most, like I said, depending on what you do for a career, your brand is normally going to be online. Build your personal branding online. And the most basic way is to have a website. Remember when the internet first came out and everybody had a website? So, you know, the most simple way of branding websites, some people brand with social media. Some people have their own domain names, you know, and their websites are being hosted. And, you know, every now and then, if they don't know how to go in and update it themselves, somebody else is being paid to keep the website updating current. So that's the most basic, is building a website. Like I said, use social media sites for your target audience. You know what websites and what social media sites, the people that you are trying to get their attention, what do they use? For most, it's going to be the same ones: Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Facebook. You know, they have all kinds. There are so many different websites, and depending on what countries you're in, there's even more. But if you're somebody who your profession requires you to have followers, then you need to know where those people are, and that's where you need to brand at. Then, you know, aesthetically, use the same color scheme and font across all platforms. You know, don't have one website with, you know, pink and green over here, and then over here is black and yellow, and then over here is yellow and blue. You know, use the same color scheme. You know, for my organization, Lady Panthers, our colors are red, white, and black. Logo is on every, you know, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. My program is on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Those are the ones I use personally, and they're the ones I use for my program. So you go in there, you look up the Lady Panthers, you're going to see the same logo. You're going to see everything's going to be the same on all the different, you know, platforms that we use. Use a logo. Get someone to design you a logo if you don't have one. You know, it could just be your name done really nicely, you know, especially if you're in your own business. Like, I know a lot of people who do different things. You know, they cook, or they cater, or they make cakes, or You know, they just do different things that doesn't require them to have more than one person. So they went out and had somebody design a logo for them. You know, and there's always, you know, you can always find somebody looking to design someone a logo. So make sure that you have a professional logo design. You know, in the sports industry, our logo actually was one that was created when we had our uniforms redone, when the girls were getting ready to go to nationals in the 6th grade, the summer of their 6th grade going into the 7th grade year. And they did a really nice logo, and we completely rechanged and rebranded our whole program with that new logo. And we still use it today. We actually have two because it was the same thing. It says, one says LPGBA, Lady Panthers basketball, and then we have one that's just a Red Panther. I use them both. So, you know, you go to any of our pages or whatever, you're going to see at some point both logos are being used, but it's really the same one. It's just depending on what I'm doing, I may use, you know, crop it and use one, and, you know, things like that. But be consistent in posting and wording and everything. So if you post something on Instagram and you post it on Snapchat, they both better say the same thing. You know, most people would do this, and I do it myself. If I post something on our Facebook page, then I'll go over to Instagram. I'll type it up on Facebook, and then I'll copy it, go to Instagram, paste it. Go to Twitter. It's going to be a condensed version because Twitter, you know, you can only use so many words. Even with the, you know, with them improving or increasing the word count, you can still. So it may be a summarized version of it on Twitter, but it's still going to be the same thing. You know, but if I don't have a word count minimum limit or whatever, then the other posts are going to always read the same thing. Twitter is going to be a condensed version. And then your in-person actions and behaviors need to match your online action and behaviors. Remember, authenticity. So once again, don't do something and have people posting stuff with you online, and then in real life, you're a jerk. You know, and that does happen a lot. You know, people, you know, see, especially with artists, music artists, you know, people always say, you know, they cool, you know, they look cool, but you meet them and they, you know, they're going to say something a lot more graphic, but the equivalent to jerks. You know, they're rude, they're not nice. And then there are some people, they say, you know, you meet them and it's just like you've known them all your life. They're just the same in everything they do as they are if you walk up and meet. You know, they're not putting on airs or trying to act, you know, all elitist or whatever when they meet their fans. You know, so be authentic and act the way you portray you do. You know, and then be credible. You know, don't lie about who you are. A lie gets brought out quicker than anything. So, you know, be credible when you post stuff and do your personal branding. Be credible with the things that you're saying. Don't post something you didn't do, you know, just because you're trying to get likes or, you know, just because you're trying to get somebody's attention. Because once again, a lie or something fake is going to always be found out. So don't do something that you haven't personally done and you're not credible doing. And if it's something you don't do, then say that. I have never done that, but you know, I tell people all the time, I didn't play high school or college ball, but that doesn't mean I don't like basketball. I'm still a world champion basketball coach. I'm credible in everything I do. It's a lot about nothing. Everybody that knows me knows that. But it doesn't mean I can't coach basketball because I do it very well. However, I also got personnel that did do those things, and that helps out as well. So you have to be credible and authentic in who you are and what you do. You know, discuss what is important to you, especially if you have a website, your Facebooks, your not LinkedIn's, Instagrams, you know, where you can actually post stuff and do your Instagram lives and your Facebook lives. Discuss things that are important to you. Don't just discuss something because everybody else is discussing it, because if you don't really have an opinion about it that is really personal to you, it comes off as shallow. And that's really easy to figure out when somebody's being shallow. So when you discuss things that are really important to you. You know, and then depending on something, you know, industries are just sometimes your job. There are some things that you just can't discuss, you know, and you need to be cognizant about that as well. You know, some things sometimes you can say stuff and get yourself, you know, and normally people don't find out about that until after they have said something and gotten themselves in trouble. And now they have to apologize and retract that statement. So you have to know what you can and can't discuss. And then if something is important to you and you're taking a stance, you got to be willing to roll with whatever comes with it. You know, some people are going to support you, some are not. You know, you just have to grow thick skin with that. And then for your business, highlight and use pictures to service or services or product or products. and be clear and precise in pricing. And I can't say that enough. You know, everybody wants to advertise their business on Facebook. And I'm on Facebook every day, so I know this. But there are some things that I tell people all the time, because people are really annoyed. They annoy me when they say, well, you don't have to have a degree to run a business. You don't. But you still need to take some customer service classes. You need to take some classes on etiquette and how to create menus and how to write grammatically. You know, those are things that people don't think about. The devil is in the details. I tell my daughter that all the time. The devil is in the details. So when I see some people, you want to support people, you know, because you see people are trying to do things. But there are some people that you just can't because they have zero customer service skills. You know, and that was, like I said last week when I was talking about a lot of businesses and restaurants popped up when the pandemic hit, and they were trying to fill a niche void, you know, and trying to get people fed and things like that, and how a lot of those businesses are no longer in business. And for some of them, it was because of their lack of customer service skills. You know, they're making people wait 2 and 3 hours for their food, and then they wanted to be rude about it. You know, if you want my food, you'll wait. Well, no, no. That's not how you treat people that are paying you money. You know, that you have to have some type of customer service. But if you have never been trained in customer service skills, you know, so you have to be clear and precise when you're dealing with customers. You can't come out, you know, say, you know, you're baking a cake, you're charging $30, but then somebody gets a bill and the bill is for $59.99 because you've tacked in some type of service fee. And, you know, and online, you know, you ordered online, that's another $5. You know, now it's a shipping price because I got to bring it to your house. No, you have to be very clear and very precise in your prices when you are selling people a service or a product. You know, make sure that your pictures are professionally done. You know, make sure that the surrounding areas, you know, people say this a lot, but it's really the truth. If you're going to promote your food, make sure that whatever picture you're posting, your kitchen is clean, especially if you're going to post it in the kitchen. You know, you can't have the sink with the dirty dishes, and then you have that in the background, and you have this, you know, this beautiful lasagna sitting there. You know, so you have to do things correctly. Like they say, right, you know, right. Do things the right way. So, you know, but highlight what you do. Highlight the things that you do best. Cake Daddy, for instance, you know, you go to his website and every week he posts pictures of every cake he's made for that week, unless somebody has asked him, you know, it's for a celebrity or somebody that doesn't want their cake shown. But most often, you know, birthday cakes, you know, anything that he's made a cake for that week, every 7 days he goes in and he updates and shows you what he's made that week, you know, and so you want to do that because that's his brand, you know. So, and then be professional when responding to people. That's what I was talking about with the whole customer service. You know, when people inquire with you, whether they call you or online or in a chat box or whatever, when people inquire to you even about yourself or about a service or a product, be professional when responding. And, you know, you know, you listen a lot on the radio and you hear people, you know, they interview entertainers and, you know, as you know, I mean, and now, dog, you know, you have to, there are times and places for that, you know, and sometimes you have to know that you have to be one way in this situation. You have to know your environment. Always know your environment and you adapt. You know, change, whatever you want to call it, but you have to know who you're talking to. There are some people that you can get away with that, and then there are some people that you're going to have to change your whole verbiage of how your language, of how you're talking, and you can still sell the same product or service or sell yourself, you know, because you are your product or service at the, you know, at the very foundational level, you're selling yourself. And so you can still, you know, with the bougies and with the hood, you can still sell the same products and services, which is yourself. You just have to know how to talk to people. So be professional when responding to people. Know your audience. You have to know your target audience when you're responding and dealing with the public. And so building your personal brand online, the second page, for career search purposes, use an infographic resume. And an infographic resume is kind of like a living resume. But, you know, now everybody is kind of getting away from doing just the straight resumes. Now they're doing resumes with graphs and they have colors. It depends on your industry. You know, some industries, You know, and this is online. You know, online, you can get away with using an infographic resume online. But if you're doing one offline, you got to be careful. You have to know what industry you're in and whether or not it's appropriate, because even when you're doing paper resumes, there are still things that are appropriate and not appropriate to do, you know, depending on the industry. But online, infographic resumes are your living resumes, and you can use them together. They're two entirely different things, but you can use them together, because once again, your living resume is going to be updated more often than a paper resume. And so with some people, they're doing infographics. Like I said, it depends on what industry you're in. You know, say you're an artist, like a drawing artist. You know, some people might use a picture they just drew and posted that on their page, you know, or an infographic resume. You can, you know, show, most of the times you're going to see graphs, maybe a line graph, a pie graph, a bar graph, something like that. You know, an infographic, it may have some type of little artist graphics, you know, just showing who you are and what you do. You know, then post media that shows you in your professional role. You know, if you're say you're an analyst, you know, a sports analyst, you know, there's at some point somebody should have recorded you doing your job. You know, or once again, you're a music artist, somebody should have video of you doing your job, whether you're in the studio or whether you're, you know, out and about. You know, if you're, you know, a teacher or something, you know, there are all different ways. You know, there, you know, especially when the pandemic hit at the beginning of the year, you saw a lot of teachers recording videos with their students to let them know, hey, even though we're doing things virtually, we can still reach you and we can still teach you. So, you know, get somebody to get some media, either whether a picture of you doing your job or taking a video, recording a video of you doing your job, or verbal, you know, recording of you doing something that shows what you do, you know, and post with professional verbiage, no slang, no profanity. You know, even with your target audience, you still want to have a foundational level of professionalism, you know, but have some type of media that shows you doing what you do. And then keep your personal and professional pages different. Remember, way back when we started doing these presentations where I said keep your personal and professional pages separate, same thing. Your branding is still part of your professional self. So keep your personal and your professional pages different. You know, some people, you know, you'll see like, it'll say like Sean Combs official, you know, and stuff like that. You know, you want to keep your professional page professional, your personal page for family and friends. They should not interlock. They should not be tied together, because you don't want people, you know, people try to keep their lives separate. So, you know, if you don't want anybody to know about your personal life, then create a whole other page with your personal life and only share that with certain people. You know, most often your branding page is going to be something where anybody can like, you know, and there, you know, a lot of times they don't have to get approval. They can just like your page, book page, not your Facebook personal page, but a Facebook page, where that's where you can do your blogging and things like that. People don't have to get approval from you to like those pages. They just hit the little like button, you know, so keep them separate. And then now you're building your personal branding offline. And so this is what is called old school marketing. This is where you go out and get business cards printed that match your online presence. You want them to mesh. You know, this is where you get t-shirts printed, you get card magnets made, towels, hats, buttons, whatever, banners, posters. This is old school offline marketing and branding. Make sure that your social media information is listed on whatever offline materials and stuff that you use, because you want people to be able to find you online. You know, make sure that your contact information is listed. Make sure it's spelled correctly. Make sure email addresses are correct and that they work or active. Use the same logo, font, and color scheme that you use on your online branding. You want everything about your branding to be correct and precise and about you. And then your online actions and behaviors need to match your offline actions and behaviors. Remember, authenticity. Same thing. You can't be one way online and one way offline, and vice versa. Be the same person, and that takes the place of having to lie and all that type of stuff. I always know that someone is willing to record and post your actions and behaviors long before helping you, and especially if they are your competition. And we see this all the time, you know, especially with when it comes to people needing help. You know, people are quick to, you know, post a picture to show that they're helping somebody. And in some cases, that is fine. You know, you got to kind of know when and not to do that, because there are some things that people do want to be shown, you know, like, or help organizations helping out. That's something different. But if every time somebody asks you to do something, the first thing you got to do is take a picture showing you handing them money and things like that, and people actually do that foolishness, you know. But especially if something goes wrong in your life, you know, say you get caught doing something, you know, nobody's perfect, and you get caught doing something wrong, and first thing somebody is going to do is record that before they ask you, can I help you? And a lot of times they're not going to even ask you. They're going to record it and they're going to post it, whether they legally have permission to or not. So always know that when you are offline, even online, but a lot of times offline, when you're out in the public and out and about, you know, always know that there's at least 1,000 people within eyeshot of you and earshot of you with a cell phone ready to record your actions and your behaviors, and especially if you're doing something wrong, you know. And a lot of times they may ask for help, ask if they can help you, and a lot of times often they're not. So just always know that there's always somebody willing to record and post your actions and behaviors. And so the summary: your personal brand is how you positively promote yourself personally, professionally, and for career search reasons. Branding can and should be both offline and online. Branding should be taken seriously. Respect yourself. Branding should be consistent. Branding should be positive. Know that your brand will depict how you want people to view you. For business purposes, know your target audience and use the social media sites that this audience uses. Always know that someone is willing to post any and everything that you do, and your in-person actions and behaviors should match what you do offline and vice versa. References as always. And then, does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything in my chat box, so I don't see any questions, and y'all know how to find me if you do. And so next week, my favorite topic, I will be discussing servant leadership, and this will be the 21st, which is the day after my birthday and the day of the mad scientist's birthday, little Noel. But next Thursday, we will be discussing servant leadership. This is like one of my favorite topics, and one of the theories that, one of the two theories that I used to get my doctorate. And I'm actually excited for that. I got to figure out what I'm not going to mention, because I have so much information that I could mention on servant leadership. But always, my contact information, if you need to get in contact with me, is 800-EducatorBridget@TICommunities.com or Facebook.com/Dr. Bridget M. King, EDD. And that is the end of today's presentation. Let me stop. And before you ladies go, let me get a picture. I keep trying to find topics that are new, you know. So once again, if there's anything that y'all want me to do something on, let me know, because I'm always looking for new topics to discuss and things of that nature. Try to do stuff that matters to me, because it's, you know, it's more genuine when you do stuff that matters to you. Remember, be authentic. So I forgot to put the survey. Hold on, ladies. I was about to say goodbye, but I can't say goodbye yet. Uh-oh. This link is long, so I'm trying to make sure that I got everything in it. There we go. Click on that and open that up before I close everything out. Remember, today is You Are Your Personal Brand, 24/7, 365. And the TI pillars, I think they only allow you to choose one now, and it's education. Just choose education. Man, we have roughly 12 minutes to go. Does anybody have any questions on anything? I thank you ladies for coming. My eyes are bothering me. I think my allergies, I keep blinking because my right eye is dry and it keeps annoying me. But does anybody have any questions on anything? I appreciate you ladies coming this evening. What is the topic? The topic is You Are Your Personal Brand, 24/7, 365. Let me type it. There you go. And then is it education? Is the topic education, or is that the pillar? I forgot how they reworded it. They redid hold on, let me look at the event name. Yeah, the event name is the topic, and then the event category. Oh, you can choose more. Choose education and community building for the event categories, and then you can answer the rest yourself. I thought they only allowed you to pick one category. The category, please choose both community building and education, please. We have any more questions before I say a final goodbye for the evening? Nope. Well, I want to thank you ladies for coming. As always, thank you for spending your Thursday with me. And I expect to see all of you back next week when we discuss servant leadership. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye.